Man, I'm starving. Are you hungry? Should I make something to eat?
I can't possibly eat after watching that horrible movie, A Trip Down the River. What did you think of it?
I've got to say, that was one of the funniest movies I've seen in a while. I couldn't stop laughing. The characters were ridiculous. It was such a breath of fresh air to see a portrayal like that. It's nice to, for once, not take ourselves so seriously.
I think it was the biggest waste of time to quote the semi-sensible character in the entire movie, Memon. It was garbage. It was a mockery of our government and us by association. It pokes fun at the party and it aims to defame our representatives. It makes us look weak and hesitant, constantly sweating like animals and mumbling to the point of incoherency. It was unacceptable, and obviously none of the characters had any sense at all. Tell me, which of our representatives do any of the characters represent?
Jeez, don't take it so seriously. Obviously these characters are just exaggerations. But on the other hand, movies like this that are both funny and insightful are really important. I mean, can we really say that the party and its members are perfect? I mean, what sort of country would we be living in were we never to question the leaders? I mean, I think that would be more like a dictatorship. I mean, we need to have discussion on the top. I mean, I believe in the party and socialism as much as you do or anyone else, but also realize we need to be able to recognize faults in order to make the system better. And what better way to do this than through comedy? Don't you have a sense of humor at all?
Of course I do, but how do you think it's insightful? The party is the nearest thing to perfection that I have ever seen. We can question the leaders, but we will be held accountable. I have a sense of humor, but I found absolutely nothing about this movie humorous. I believe in realizing our faults and fixing them, but what was presented wasn't anything that was even worth talking about. If the director thought that there was something to fix, he should have presented the problem and then offered a viable solution.
But come on, never once were the party members officially referenced in the film. We both know that the crew's activity director and his group represented party officials, but isn't that kind of saying something? We recognize the faults in these people and the way that they acted and link that to the party. If the party were perfect, I don't think we would be making these sort of connections. I mean, okay, look at when Maman is dismissed from the group. He wasn't even dismissed for what they thought he did. They basically just found this pretext, which they couldn't even articulate to him, and when they wanted him out, and they said that he drank too much beer. We all drink beer. I mean, I'm gonna have one in a second. I mean, it was hilarious. And on the other hand, the crime that they suspected him of was ridiculous. Simply calling the activity director a clot, I mean, come on. But this sort of thing happens. It was an obvious reference to 1968. The Central Committee ratifies decisions they've already made and decides everything. That's not even socialism. We have to find some humor in it, or else we can't even see the flaws.
The whole situation was contestable. They dismissed Memon for drinking beer, and then right in front of him, they started drinking as soon as they turned him away. They got rid of the only sensible character in that entire movie. But it was a waste anyway because none of the characters were intelligent enough to understand his sense.
Well, we're just going to have to disagree. I mean, I'm a socialist and firm supporter of the party, but I have a sense of humor, and to realize that anyone who is that afraid of a hilarious exaggeration is just paranoid.
The party takes care of those who work hard and deserve it. But be warned, because the way you're talking could have devastating consequences. If anyone were to hear what you're saying, you're in favor of a movie that does not look kindly upon the party, it's mocking us. And it only helps to spread resentment towards our officials, because the youth and public in general will just see this movie and assume that that's what our officials do, that they just mess around and play, and that's just not true. It's an outright lie. Therefore, no one else in this house will be permitted to watch this film.
Jeez, lighten up. Our nation's never going to grow stronger if there isn't some freedom of opinion. And that's not an anti-party sentiment, it's just human nature.